Following the incident, more details about Morales emerged.
It turns out the pilot of that plane, Luis Morales III, was recently charged for cocaine.
Just Once was just the beginning for R&B singer-songwriter James Ingram, who passed away today from brain cancer.
And the world then got to know just how much the celebrated vocalist struggled to come out as gay.
Certain realities only emerge posthumously. For numerous R&B icons, globally renowned for their vocal prowess and dazzling stardom, their deaths unveiled the most appalling secrets. Free from fear, scrutiny, and concealment, all was exposed. Even tales submerged for years resurfaced. The accompanying video explores the shadowy aspects of 23 R&B legends' lives beyond the public eye. Prepare for unexpected revelations. These are the harsh truths you never anticipated. 23 Phyllis Hyman. A voice stilled in a frigid room. Phyllis Hyman, a jazz and R&B legend, possessed a soul-stirring voice and commanding presence, enthralling fans with You Know How to Love Me and numerous other timeless hits. Unforeseen by anyone, on the evening of 30th of June 1995, this luminary's light dimmed in quietude. She was discovered unresponsive in her New York City residence, the deceased, a suicide note beside her. She opted to depart via a drug overdose just hours before a performance marking her 46th birthday. Authorities verified it was self-inflicted, ruling out any external involvement. However, few understood the protracted path leading to that tragic moment. Hyman thrived under the glare of the spotlight, yet perished in the shadows of depression. Isolation and financial burdens, coupled with fleeting romances and superficial relationships, sapped her vitality. Her career's brilliance had waned, and her opulent apartment felt increasingly desolate. Her note held no blame, only profound sorrow, its melancholic script lingering as a haunting testament. A star extinguished softly, bearing a burden of pain that remained largely unfathomed. 22, the iconic Michael Jackson, global pop's unparalleled king, revolutionized entertainment with his defying gravity dance and timeless voice. His 13 Grammys, hundreds of millions of albums sold, and an era named in his honor cemented his untouchable status. Yet beneath the glittering surface lay a fragile body, a crumbling spirit, and an unforeseen demise. On June 25, 2009, a Holmby Hills rental became the setting for a tragic event. Jackson passed away at home, completely exhausted. Weighing 112 lb at 5'9", his frame showed the effects of numerous cosmetic procedures. He was severely debilitated, reliant on nightly medication. His personal physician prescribed sleep aids. That fateful night, a medication error tragically ended his life. His doctor faced manslaughter charges for alleged medication mismanagement. During a thorough investigation, the FBI examined his possessions. They discovered a hidden hard drive containing over 100 unreleased tracks, some collaborations with Freddie Mercury and Will Smith. Even in his weakened state, Michael continued creating, clinging to hope. However, they also found a contact book with controversial entries, igniting fervent speculation. Previous allegations, never definitively proven, shadowed Michael, astonishing the public. 3 weeks prior, Michael had announced his This Is It tour. 50 shows sold out instantly. The media celebrated it as the legend's triumphant return. But in reality, he battled health issues, concealing his weakness with smiles and outerwear. Ironically, Jackson didn't own a home, only renting the mansion. His music rights were entangled in massive debt, totaling hundreds of millions. As the world eagerly awaited his grand comeback, Michael quietly departed. No goodbye, only the cries of fans outside the hospital and a faint echo, "This is it." 21, the soulful singer James Ingram, a two-time Grammy winner known for collaborations with Michael McDonald and Patty Austin, left an enduring musical legacy. This iconic voice of 80s R&B passed away peacefully at his Los Angeles home on January 29, 2019. Only his family was aware of his battle with glioblastoma multiforme, an aggressive brain cancer that rapidly progresses. The disease significantly impaired his cognitive abilities, affecting his memory and reading skills. However, he maintained a public silence about his illness, avoiding any public displays of his decline. He carefully orchestrated his withdrawal from the public eye, wishing to spare his loved ones unnecessary grief. Despite debilitating headaches, blurred vision, and relying on a screen zoomed to 300% to read lyrics, he continued performing at small charity events and recording music. He confided in a close friend, "If I have to go, I'll let the music say goodbye, not the disease." This commitment persisted until 3 months before his death, as he recorded a gospel EP at home. The final recordings consisted of simple piano accompaniment and his weakened yet impassioned vocals, seemingly a final offering to God. He forewent all medical treatments, opting instead for a quiet recording space in his home. During his final 3 months, he secretly recorded several unreleased hymns. 20. The iconic disco queen, Donna Summer, a sultry 70s symbol, passed away quietly. The undisputed queen of the disco floor, she ignited the world with hits such as Hot Stuff, Bad Girls, and Last Dance. She won 5 Grammy Awards, sold more than 100 million records, and became an enduring icon of global dance music. However, a silent tragedy unfolded during her illustrious career. She died tragically in her Florida home on May 17, 2012. Incredibly, the woman who captivated the world on the dance floor succumbed to lung cancer despite being a lifelong non-smoker. Her family believed her lung cancer stemmed from inhaling toxic dust from the 9/11 attacks. Residing near Ground Zero during the Twin Towers collapse, she lived through the massive smoke clouds engulfing the city, breathing hazardous toxins, a danger the government often ignored in diagnoses. Overwhelmed, Donna confined herself to her home, curtains drawn, fearing airborne poisons. She famously stated, "I just want to sing, not shine." Ultimately, she faded quietly. Even while battling illness, she continued her passion for singing. She recorded introspective, somber songs, a departure from her disco era. Her personal hard drive contained numerous unreleased recordings. Some were single, unedited takes. The final file, titled September Wind, was a mere fragment. Donna's soft whisper, a final testament, is heard on the 2-minute track. Her last words were, "I'm fading." 19. The elusive legend Bill Withers rebelled against industry norms. A musical powerhouse with a gravelly voice, he crafted enduring anthems such as Ain't No Sunshine and Lean on Me, deeply impacting a generation with his emotionally resonant songs. Yet, a somber reality underlay his success. On 3/30/2020, he passed away peacefully at home. The media gave him minimal attention, offering only brief mentions amidst the pandemic's turmoil. This disregard stemmed from his self-imposed exile from the entertainment world in the late 1970s. Repulsed by its artifice and relentless demands, he embraced a solitary life, avoiding the public eye as though escaping the fame that once defined him. He lacked close companions as heart disease gradually claimed his life. His music resonated widely, but the artist himself faded from public consciousness, possibly because his authenticity and integrity were too profound. The entertainment industry had no room for such genuine artistry. 18. Luther Vandross, a facade of success masking profound sorrow. Luther Vandross, an R&B icon with enduring hits, a velvety voice, and an impeccable public persona, concealed a difficult personal life. On 1st of July 2005, Luther passed away after a 2-year battle with a stroke and related diabetic issues. His death occurred peacefully in a sterile hospital room. Alone, without a partner or close family, only the waning sounds of a heart monitor were present. The artist who captivated countless fans died in complete isolation. The tragedy, however, extended beyond his passing. A shocking revelation emerged posthumously. Luther Vandross was gay and lived a clandestine life. He maintained a decades-long secret relationship with a man, concealing his sexuality for fear of professional repercussions and societal rejection. Only his family was aware. Yet, even they failed to offer acceptance. He dedicated his life to presenting an idealized public image, while secretly enduring profound suffering, despair, and agony unnoticed by the public. His illness, initially described as diabetic complications, was later disclosed by his family to have been AIDS, a condition he kept hidden. His demise marked not just the silencing of a legendary voice, but the heartbreaking conclusion of a life lived under a cloud of concealment due to the fear of discrimination. 17. The sudden death of R&B legend Gerald Levert marked a tragic end to his silent struggle. Gerald Levert, a son of singer Eddie Levert and a pivotal member of the 80s group Levert, possessed a golden R&B voice that resonated throughout the music world with numerous chart-topping hits. On 10 November 2006, the music industry was stunned by the news of Gerald's death in his Cleveland residence. The cause of death, a lethal combination of prescription drugs, anti-anxiety medication, painkillers, and sedatives, came as a profound shock. His untimely passing at age 40 was a solitary event, hidden from public view. For years, Gerald privately battled anxiety and drug addiction. He secretly mentored numerous aspiring artists, concealing his struggles to uphold his image as an R&B icon. The relentless pressures of fame, coupled with high expectations and countless sleepless nights, ultimately overwhelmed him. Ironically, a posthumously released album earned a Grammy Award after his death. However, this legacy came at the devastating cost of a lonely death, a grim reality that remained unseen until it was too late. 16. Marvin Gaye, a soul and R&B music legend, was tragically killed by his father. His timeless hits, including What's Going On, Sexual Healing, and Let's Get It On, solidified his status as an iconic figure who profoundly influenced American music. Yet, a dark story underlies his celebrated career. On April 1, 1984, just before his 45th birthday, Marvin Gaye perished in a violent confrontation with his father, Marvin Gaye Sr. The incident, occurring at their Los Angeles residence, was not accidental, but a devastating culmination of a life marked by turmoil. During his final years, Gaye existed in a state of isolation, grappling with personal struggles, including depression, significant debt, and a deep sense of failure. He spent weeks in solitude, composing music, desperately seeking redemption. His relationship with his father deteriorated, escalating from childhood trauma to intense disputes. A heated altercation tragically resulted in his father's violent act with irreversible and devastating consequences. The incident ended his life abruptly, leaving behind only the haunting echo of his mother's scream in their desolate home. 15. Natalie Cole, a legend's shadowed life. Natalie Cole, Nat King Cole's only daughter, remarkably escaped her father's immense shadow to forge a brilliant solo career. Possessing a potent voice and unique style, she garnered numerous Grammy Awards and achieved iconic R&B status. However, this glittering facade concealed deep personal struggles. By the late 1970s, Natalie succumbed to the pitfalls of fame and wealth. She battled personal demons, substance use impacting both her private life and public performances. These early difficulties led her to seek emotional equilibrium following demanding shows, but these efforts became an overwhelming weight. Excessive partying and a destructive lifestyle severely damaged her health, leaving her feeling lost. Few suspected that such a gifted vocalist endured profound loneliness behind the scenes. Facing a career crisis, she finally chose to overcome her challenges. From 1982 to 1985, Natalie largely disappeared from the limelight as she fought to conquer her inner turmoil. While she later proclaimed a complete break from the past, the impact of those years gradually eroded her health. In 2009, she received a diagnosis of idiopathic pulmonary arterial hypertension, a rare and deadly disease. That year, she also underwent a kidney transplant following months of grueling dialysis, a direct consequence of past hardships. Hospitals became a familiar place, her frequent visits remaining undisclosed. Yet, Natalie continued to perform whenever possible. She took the stage. She sang, concealing her inner depletion. Then, on December 31st, 2015, as the world celebrated the new year, Natalie passed away in a cold Los Angeles hospital room, alone, without family, without a final goodbye, unattended except for machines and a night shift nurse. This was the end of a woman who once captivated American music, a life concluding in an unsettling silence that lingers. 14. Renowned R&B artist Betty Wright, a formative influence on the genre, passed away alone. Betty Wright, the iconic voice behind the hit Clean Up Woman, served as a mentor to music legends including Beyoncé and Mary J. Blige. On 10th of May 2020, during a period of widespread global pandemic and intense political coverage, Betty Wright, a powerful force in shaping a generation of musicians, breathed her last after a prolonged battle with endometrial cancer. However, her death went largely unreported, lacking the fanfare one might expect. The overwhelming pandemic news overshadowed everything else. She passed peacefully in her home without family present. Just months prior, she continued mentoring singers, maintaining a strong outward appearance, concealing her illness until the very end. Some believe she felt overlooked and forgotten, intentionally choosing a quiet departure. The singers she mentored, her brilliant protégés, were absent. Her lasting contribution was her music and selfless dedication. Her life's work, establishing a record label, nurturing young talent, prioritizing service over glamour, culminated in an almost unnoticed death. 13. Donny Hathaway, a 15th floor fall and a concealed internal battle. Donny Hathaway, a leading figure in American soul music, imbued timeless classics like A Song for You and In the Ghetto with profound meaning. His music resonated deeply, possessing an evocative and intensely emotional quality. Yet, underlying this artistry was a life marked by profound darkness, instability, and overwhelming suffering. One January morning in 1979, Donny was discovered deceased at the foot of New York's Essex House Hotel, the result of a fall from the 15th floor. No screams were heard, no suicide note was found, and security cameras failed to capture his final moments. Only a devastating tragedy and a series of conflicting explanations remain. At only 33 years old, his death was preceded by a period characterized by obsession, hallucinations, and debilitating paranoia. Unbeknownst to many, Donny had silently grappled with severe mental health challenges for years. He harbored the belief that he was under surveillance, that his body contained implanted devices designed to manipulate his thoughts. On one occasion, he abruptly left a recording session, panicked and shouting that his mind was being invaded. At other times, he would disappear from performances, lose control, or remain transfixed on walls for extended periods. No one intervened. His family felt powerless. His colleagues gradually distanced themselves. Just hours before his death, Donny was collaborating in the studio with Roberta Flack. However, during their session, he fell silent, his gaze distant, his thoughts wandering. He expressed feeling watched and a sense of unease. On that fateful night of January 13th, he returned to his hotel room, secured the door, and refused entry to anyone. Around midnight, he was gone. The official cause of death was determined to be a fall from a great height. Although there were no signs of a struggle, many remained unconvinced that it was a completely self-inflicted act. Some believe Donny lost his battle with his inner demons. Others maintain that the relentless pressures of the music industry, where prodigious talent overshadowed the need for mental health support, drove him to the brink. He left behind unreleased music and an enduring void for his devoted fans. Donny Hathaway became an emblem of the solitary genius consumed by a world that failed to comprehend them. 12. Ray Charles, a solitary passing and a contentious inheritance dispute. Ray Charles was a renowned soul and R&B icon, transforming suffering into timeless tunes like Georgia on My Mind and Hit the Road Jack. Blinded since youth, he persistently defied adversity, yet even the most resilient succumbed to mortality. On 6/10/2004, Ray breathed his last in a tranquil Beverly Hills residence. Following years of battling health problems and liver disease, a seemingly peaceful demise. However, a ferocious battle over his estate immediately followed amongst his 12 children, from 10 different mothers. His testament was challenged, its legitimacy disputed. Funds designated for the visually challenged were overlooked. The portrait of an esteemed father, partner, and teacher became turbulent. As the conflict intensified, more darkness surfaced. Personal battles and a chaotic romantic history isolated him within the mansion he once considered a haven. His extraordinary musical heritage persists, but his private struggles cast a long shadow, transforming his funeral and memorial into a public spectacle, a death that ended a life but ignited a decade-long conflict. 11. Etta James, a legendary singer's internal struggle. Etta James was a pivotal figure in American music. Her distinctive, raspy vocals captivated audiences worldwide with hits like At Last. She was more than just a performer. Etta lived honestly, bravely defying prejudice, and her passion for music was undeniable. However, behind the glamorous facade lay a protracted period of suffering. Etta's passing from leukemia on January 20th, 2012 wasn't peaceful. Instead, she died amidst turmoil and profound isolation. For almost 10 years, Etta battled crippling self-doubt. She underwent numerous cosmetic procedures, facelifts, liposuction, rhinoplasty, Botox, all to maintain the image expected by the public. In some years, she endured 3 procedures consecutively, disregarding medical advice. Her physical health deteriorated. Her appearance changed dramatically. She developed a severe painkiller addiction, even requiring hospitalization for overdoses. But the heartache extended beyond her physical state. She confided in her physician, expressing her desire to end her suffering, unable to cope with her fading image and profound loneliness. Although deeply loved by her children, family disputes regarding her assets exacerbated her misery. Arguments over finances occurred at her bedside, leaving her devastated. Ultimately, she died alone, surrounded by medical equipment and unresolved legal matters. Her death ignited a ferocious conflict over her estate. Her 2 sons swiftly filed a lawsuit against her husband, Artis Mills, to control an estimated $1 million in assets, comprising royalties, properties, and income from previously unreleased recordings. Long-forgotten 1960s recordings were suddenly divided like spoils. The family fractured, some driven by financial gain, others by ambition. No one prioritized Etta's legacy. 10. The flamboyant artist Rick James met a tragic end. A funk music legend renowned for chart-topping hits such as Super Freak and Give It To Me Baby, James embodied rebellion and charisma, yet battled inner demons. He led a self-destructive lifestyle. On 08/6/2004, he was discovered deceased in his Los Angeles apartment. Toxicology reports revealed the presence of various drugs, including stimulants and antidepressants. While the official cause of death was listed as heart failure, his family attributed it to years of substance abuse and neglect of his health. During his final years, James spiraled into financial and personal ruin. He relinquished the rights to his most famous songs to settle debts. He retreated from public life, absent from performances and interviews, his name only surfacing in police reports detailing lawsuits, incarcerations, and sex-related controversies. This was a stark contrast to his reign over Hollywood's elite. Rick James ultimately lost everything: fame, influence, wealth, health, and his very essence. 9. The iconic Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, passed away burdened by debt and profound loneliness. This soul music legend, with an unparalleled voice behind such timeless hits as Respect, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, and Think, was the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and a recipient of 18 Grammy Awards, a true pillar of American music. However, this glittering public persona masked a deeply troubled personal life. Franklin experienced intense loneliness, failed relationships, and a multitude of unresolved emotional wounds. 3 marriages ended in divorce, and unhealthy partnerships left her with a pervasive sense of emptiness that spanned decades. This immensely powerful woman never found lasting love, her career consistently overshadowing her personal life, preventing her from finding a partner who could truly understand and support her struggles. This emotional pain permeated every aspect of her being, coloring her lyrics and every note she sang on stage. Beyond romantic setbacks, Franklin's final years were marked by severe financial difficulties. She owed the IRS almost $8 million in back taxes, a debt with the potential to obliterate her entire life's work. This crippling debt transformed her death into a shocking financial crisis among African American artists. Upon her passing, the public was astonished to discover that her mansion was nearly foreclosed upon, only salvaged through loans from friends. Her family not only grieved her loss, but also confronted a maelstrom of problems with banks, courts, and the media. Franklin never executed a formal will. Following her death on August 16, 2018, from pancreatic cancer, her family was plunged into turmoil. 3 handwritten wills emerged, one discovered tucked away in a couch. The discrepancies within these documents ignited fierce disputes among her children from her 3 marriages, giving rise to an avalanche of lawsuits and conflicts. It was unimaginable that such a revered icon would leave behind such a complex web of financial and legal complications. She endured relentless suffering, met her end in isolated illness, and left behind a trail of devastation. A truly tragic end for a musical legend. 8. Renowned R&B artist Bobby Womack, felled by shocking acts of treachery. Bobby Womack, a giant of R&B music, gifted us with timeless hits such as Across 110th Street and If You Think You're Lonely Now, and collaborated with iconic groups like the Rolling Stones and Sly Stone. He passed away on 27th of June 2014 at the age of 70 due to complications from Alzheimer's disease. However, his passing wasn't straightforward. It concluded a life marked by decades of tragedy. Womack sent shockwaves through the music industry by marrying Barbara Cook, the widow of his close friend Sam Cooke, a mere 77 days after Sam's death. To make matters worse, he engaged in an affair with Sam and Barbara's daughter, resulting in a significant public scandal. This double betrayal severely damaged his career, alienated him from the Cook family, and cost him a considerable amount of his fan base. In his final years, Alzheimer's disease progressively eroded his memory and musical abilities. During his performances, he would experience moments of panic, struggling to recall even his own lyrics, eventually descending into a state of isolation and despair. A tragic end for a man who once reigned supreme, later falling from grace due to unforgivable acts of betrayal. 7. A rapidly ascending star, Aaliyah, perished in a devastating air crash. Aaliyah, the youngest R&B icon of the 90s, infused pop music with a novel style, rapidly achieving immense success. However, this meteoric rise ended abruptly on August 25, 2001, when her small aircraft departed the Bahamas. No one anticipated the ensuing catastrophe, a fiery crash just moments later. 9 individuals lost their lives. Aaliyah, age 22, died immediately, The crash investigation intensified fans' sorrow. The aircraft was overloaded, the pilot unlicensed and allegedly under the influence. Her remains were severely damaged, identified solely through official records. A further shocking revelation stunned Aaliyah's admirers. She had reportedly hesitated, sensing danger, but was pressured to maintain her schedule. As devoted fans explored her life to pay tribute, a previously unknown secret emerged. A complicated relationship with R. Kelly during her adolescence, a hidden romance swiftly concealed. No one suspected that the perpetually cheerful young woman harbored unresolved trauma from her formative years. A profound loss, dreams, unfinished films, and albums forever entombed with her. 6. The tragic death of Tammy Terrell backstage left her abandoned in the darkness. This sweet-voiced soul singer, who charmed America alongside Marvin Gaye, was celebrated for enduring hits such as Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Your Precious Love, and If I Could Build My Whole World Around You. A radiant star, she was extinguished far too soon, at only 24 years old. On March 16, 1970, Tammy passed away in a darkened room, succumbing to a severe brain tumor. However, this was merely the surface. A deeper, darker truth lay beneath. She had suffered immense trauma stemming from a damaging relationship with her boyfriend, James Brown. At 17, Tammy embarked on a seemingly idyllic romance with the godfather of soul, but instead faced significant physical and emotional hardship. Her family believes this trauma may have negatively affected her long-term health. Thereafter, Tammy endured relentless headaches and sleepless nights. Despite this, she continued to smile, sing, and perform as if nothing was amiss. On October 14, 1967, Tammy collapsed on stage while singing with Marvin. 2 weeks later, doctors diagnosed a malignant brain tumor in its terminal stage, a condition that had progressed for over 2 years. She underwent 8 brain surgeries, and each time she awoke, she lost more of her vision, voice, and memory. Motown continued releasing music under her name, blending her old vocals with those of others. She was left behind, a forgotten figure. Upon her death, the record label issued no statement or tribute. Only Marvin Gaye remembered her, sitting silently by her casket for hours before breaking down and blaming Motown. He then disappeared from the stage for almost 2 years. Tammy left behind no will, partner, or children, only old recordings and a lingering question. If Tammy hadn't experienced that trauma, if she had been protected, could her life have been more fulfilling? The answer remains unknown. What we do know is that Tammy Terrell, an angel with a honeyed voice, died with her body and spirit depleted, used by a world that discarded her when her value diminished. 5. Sam Cooke, the voice of hope, was extinguished in a low-cost motel. A soul music giant, Cooke's raw and deeply felt voice resonated with the pain and aspirations of millions of African Americans. From You Send Me to A Change Is Going to Come, Cooke transcended the role of singer. He symbolized Black empowerment, building his own empire, producing and controlling his work. A Black artist boldly owning his career in an America that still stifled his community's voice. Yet at 2:15 a.m. on December 11, 1964, amidst his passionate advocacy for Black rights, Cooke's death was utterly unexpected. A shooting incident ended his life. He collapsed on the soiled tile floor of an inexpensive motel in South Central Los Angeles, clad only in a coat. His death was shocking and mysterious. The motel manager, Bertha Franklin, claimed self-defense, stating Cooke was shouting and pounding on the door. Earlier, Elisa Boyer, a young woman he'd encountered at a bar, absconded with his wallet and clothing. After her apprehension, she levied serious accusations against him. The case, concluded swiftly, was deemed justifiable homicide. Lacking a thorough autopsy or extensive investigation, a cloud of ambiguous details persisted. Elisa Boyer faced later arrests for unlawful acts. Bertha Franklin had previous legal issues involving violence. Friends and family, including Muhammad Ali and Etta James, disputed the police's conclusion. Etta, arriving at the scene immediately, noted Cook's unusual condition and suspicious signs. It wasn't merely a sudden death, it was highly controversial. Sam Cooke dared to challenge the establishment. He owned his record label. He stood tall and visioned great things, and his death served as a cautionary tale. At the peak of his fame, no news agency provided a complete account of his death. White media portrayed him as an inebriated man killed over a woman. His honor was never restored. His name was effectively erased from the annals of fame. His legacy, his iconography, wiped clean. A Change Is Going to Come, released posthumously, became a civil rights anthem. But its creator, the man who envisioned change, was silenced, eliminated, suppressed, and vanished from public consciousness. 4. The late Whitney Houston, discovered lifeless in a bathtub, her body severely deteriorated. Once possessing one of the most powerful voices globally, Whitney Houston achieved phenomenal success with I Will Always Love You, topping Billboard charts, earning 6 Grammys, and securing global superstardom. Yet, a hidden life of profound struggle existed beyond the public eye. On 2/11/2012, while Hollywood prepared for the Grammy Awards, Whitney passed away silently in a Beverly Hilton hotel bathtub on the 4th floor. The water exceeded 1,004 degree House support. She was discovered unresponsive and tragically deceased. The official cause of death was drowning, compounded by substance use and heart disease. However, the reality behind this glamorous facade was far more devastating than headlines could capture. The coroner's report revealed a profoundly weakened Whitney Houston, her body ravaged by years of substance abuse. Her heart was 50% larger than normal due to atherosclerosis resulting from almost 2 decades of substance misuse. Her lungs were weakened by harmful habits. Her body displayed scars from cosmetic procedures reflecting a life of hardship. Her system contained traces of numerous drugs used to manage stress and pain. But the most profound wounds were not physical. 6 years post-mortem, the documentary Whitney unveiled a secret concealed for over 40 years: childhood abuse by a relative. This trauma haunted her, fostering self-doubt and crippling mistrust. Bobby Brown, initially a source of love and support, became a destructive force, leading to a downward spiral. She lost self-control, consistently battling inner demons. A fortune exceeding $100 million dissipated amidst her desperate attempts to escape, leaving her adrift, living precariously, her health rapidly declining. Her death concluded a lifetime of profound isolation, relentless struggles, and the crushing burden of perfectionism. An angel confined to a ravaged body, a preventable death seemingly rooted in her childhood. 3. The iconic 70s soul singer Teddy Pendergrass met a tragic end in a single, fateful moment. Renowned for his smooth vocals and captivating stage presence, Pendergrass was a beloved, sensual music icon to millions. However, on the night of March 13, 1982, his life took an irreversible turn when he lost control of his Rolls-Royce, resulting in a serious car accident. A transgender woman who was with him survived with minor injuries. The accident left Pendergrass with partial paralysis, transforming him from a dynamic performer into a wheelchair-bound individual. His subsequent years were marked by profound struggles. He confronted depression, feelings of powerlessness, shame, and profound loneliness. His career ended abruptly, silencing the cheers and stage lights, and leaving him confined to a room where he composed his final songs in solitude. Despite physical limitations, including weak hands, a deteriorating voice, and labored breathing, he continued to create music. On January 13, 2010, Pendergrass passed away due to complications from colon cancer. His legacy includes numerous unreleased recordings, a testament to a man whose spirit remained unbroken despite enduring immense hardship. 2. Vesta Williams, a vibrant vocalist largely unknown today. She was a dominant 1980s R&B artist with chart-topping songs such as Congratulations and Special, a soul diva who commanded American performance venues. Yet on September 22, 2011, her passing in a Los Angeles residence was strangely hushed. No relatives, no companions, no mourners to bid her farewell. A demise so quiet it resembled the world's obliviousness to her existence. This oblivion predated her decline from prominence. The music business rejected her because of her weight. Record labels ceased their association with her. Performances disappeared. Insomnia mounted. She became dependent on tranquilizers and alcohol. Solitary, despondent, without solace. Every night was a struggle against the specters of defeat. She lived in obscurity. At her passing, prescribed medications were discovered in her body. After years of hardship and resilience, death arrived as the ultimate consequence of her desolation. Vesta faded away for more than 10 years, largely disregarded. 1. Otis Redding, the essence of music lost in a winter sky. Otis Redding remained a timeless soul legend, possessing a voice that resonated deeply within the listener. Chart-topping hits such as Respect and Try a Little Tenderness solidified his status as a master of emotion, a courageous artist who dared to challenge conventions and develop a unique style that proved inimitable. However, a tragic fate claimed this gifted individual at the height of his success. 10th of December 1967. The sky was overcast. A piercing wind chilled to the bone. Otis and his band, the Bar-Kays, boarded a Beechcraft H-18 traveling from Cleveland to Madison, carrying an incomplete recording sitting on the dock of the bay. He had recorded it 3 days prior, just a preliminary version. The ending remained unwritten, merely a whistled melody serving as a temporary placeholder for lyrics. He intended to refine it. That promise remained unfulfilled. At 6:45 a.m., the aircraft crashed into the frigid waters of Lake Monona. The temperature was a mere 39 degrees. 6 lives perished. The sole survivor, a band member, clung to a fragmented seat cushion. Otis was gone eternally, leaving behind unfinished compositions. His wedding band remained on his finger. A necklace bearing his name hung around his neck. His luggage contained unreleased recordings. Half his career was swallowed by that frozen lake. Unknown to many, Otis was discreetly planning to transition away from soul music. He had grown weary of elaborate arrangements. Unreleased tracks suggested a radical departure. Raw, subdued, steeped in melancholy. Otis sought an escape, but death halted everything. He departed before he could embark on a daring new phase of life. A month later, Dock of the Bay aired on radio stations. For the first time in Billboard history, a deceased artist achieved the top spot. The whistled melody remained unaltered from the initial recording. No one dared to modify it. It served as the final whistle of a man unwittingly composing his farewell to the world. His funeral in Macon attracted 4,500 mourners, grieving openly. His mother collapsed near the coffin. His wife stood motionless, embracing their 2 young children. Otis's bank balance totaled only $70,000. No will, no considerable wealth, only incomplete songs and a soul forever frozen at 26. The untold tales of these 23 R&B icons unveiled posthumously demonstrate that behind the glittering facades exist numerous hidden struggles. Every life, every passing, leaves behind a legacy of sorrow and astonishing realities. For further captivating mysteries from the glamorous realm of Hollywood, leave a comment below and subscribe to stay tuned. Thank you for viewing. Until next time.